Imagine this: you wake up, your feet hit the floor, and before you even take your first sip of coffee, your mind is already racing. Deadlines, to-dos, worries about things beyond your control. Sound familiar? Gratitude isn't just a fleeting feeling. It's a deliberate practice that shapes how we experience the world. When we take a moment to ask, what am I grateful for today? We invite ourselves to pause and notice the small, beautiful details we might otherwise overlook. Maybe it's the way sunlight filters through the window, the warmth of a loved one's voice, or the quiet satisfaction of having overcome a challenge yesterday. Gratitude isn't reserved for monumental moments. It thrives in the ordinary, in the in-between spaces of our lives. And when we lean into those moments, we build resilience, creating a foundation that steadies us when the winds of life feel uncertain. But gratitude is also an antidote to scarcity. It shifts our focus from what we lack to what we already have, helping us embrace enoughness in a world constantly pushing us to want more. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about acknowledging the duality of joy and struggle, recognizing that even in difficulty, there are glimmers of light. Gratitude challenges us to look past the chaos of our daily lives and pay attention to the things that bring us meaning, connection, and peace. It is an invitation to recalibrate our perspective and step into the day with a fuller heart. Choosing courage over comfort is rarely easy, but it's where growth truly happens. Courage asks us to step into the unknown, to risk vulnerability, and to embrace the discomfort that comes with doing things differently. It could mean speaking up in a meeting when your voice shakes, or making a decision that aligns with your values, even when it feels risky. Courage isn't about the absence of fear. It's about feeling the fear and choosing to act anyway. Comfort might feel safe, but it often keeps us stuck, avoiding the hard conversations, the tough choices, or the opportunities that challenge us to stretch beyond who we are today. Stepping into courage also means making peace with imperfection. It's acknowledging that failure, criticism, or rejection might come along for the ride, and choosing to show up regardless. Courage teaches us to trust in our capacity to navigate the messy middle, to prioritize authenticity over approval, and to pursue what truly matters rather than what feels easy. Every time we choose courage, we expand what's possible for ourselves. We widen the horizon of our lives, trading the fleeting comfort of staying small for the profound freedom of growth and connection. Letting go is an act of liberation, a conscious decision to release the things that weigh us down. Each day, we carry emotional baggage, resentments, expectations, fears that occupy space in our hearts and minds. Asking, what's one thing I can let go of today, encourages us to identify what no longer serves us. Maybe it's the need to control every outcome, or the guilt over a mistake we made weeks ago. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or pretending something didn't matter. It means choosing not to let it define or confine us. It's an act of self-compassion, a way of clearing the clutter to make room for what truly matters. Letting go also requires acknowledging the stories we tell ourselves about why we hold on in the first place. Sometimes we cling to things because they feel familiar, even if they're painful. We convince ourselves that carrying the weight is necessary, that it's a sign of responsibility or strength. But in reality, holding on too tightly can close us off from possibility and growth. Letting go allows us to reclaim our energy and redirect it toward healing, connection, and joy. It's not a sign of weakness, but a testament to our courage to trust the process and embrace change. Showing up for someone else begins with presence. It's about putting aside distractions and offering the gift of your full attention. In a world that often prioritizes busyness and multitasking, being truly present is a profound act of care. Whether it's listening without interrupting, making eye contact, or simply sitting with someone in silence, showing up is less about what you do and more about how you make the other person feel seen and valued. It's recognizing their humanity and offering a safe space for their thoughts, emotions, or struggles to unfold without judgment or the need to fix things. Showing up also requires intentionality and effort. It could mean checking in on a friend who's been quiet lately, or offering help without waiting to be asked. It's about noticing what someone needs sometimes before they even say it and being willing to step into that gap. This might look like bringing a meal to a tired parent, celebrating someone's small victories, or simply saying, "I'm here for you." When we show up for others, we create a ripple effect of connection and trust, reminding them and ourselves that we are never truly alone in the hard and beautiful moments of life. Avoidance often feels like a temporary shield, offering a false sense of relief from discomfort, fear, or uncertainty. But what we avoid continues to have power over us, occupying mental and emotional space without our consent. Whether it's a difficult conversation with a loved one, a decision we've been postponing, or a part of ourselves we've been denying, avoidance holds us hostage to our own discomfort. By asking, what's one thing I'm avoiding, and why, we confront the gap between where we are and where we truly want to be. It forces us to reflect on what's at the root of our avoidance, whether it's fear of fear, fear of judgment, or simply the weight of uncertainty. The real question in avoidance is what we believe will happen if we face it. Will we be rejected? Will we fail? Will we feel too vulnerable? These fears are valid, but they are often rooted in old narratives we carry rather than the reality of the situation. When we choose to face what we've been avoiding, we create space for growth, healing, and connection. It's not about eliminating discomfort, it's about giving ourselves permission to move through it with courage, knowing that what we avoid today will only become harder to address tomorrow. Celebrating ourselves isn't always easy, especially when we're conditioned to focus on what we haven't done or what we could have done better. But acknowledging one thing we can celebrate is an important practice in recognizing our own worth and progress. It might be something as small as showing up for a difficult conversation, completing a task we've been putting off, or simply getting through a tough day. These moments matter. They're evidence of our resilience, determination, and the quiet strength we show, often without even realizing it. By celebrating these small wins, we affirm that we are enough exactly as we are in this moment. Celebration also requires us to shift our mindset from scarcity to abundance. When we celebrate ourselves, we step into a mindset of possibility and growth. It's a reminder that we are not defined by our mistakes or shortcomings, but by the efforts we make every day to be better, kinder, and more authentic. Acknowledging our strengths, no matter how insignificant they might seem, creates momentum and fosters self-compassion. It allows us to recognize the fullness of our humanity and honor the journey we're on with all its ups and downs. Living in alignment with our values means that our actions, choices, and interactions reflect what truly matters to us at the deepest level. It's not just about identifying our values, but about actively integrating them into our daily lives. For instance, if one of your core values is integrity, are you making decisions that honor that value even when it's difficult or inconvenient? If compassion is important to you, are you showing up with kindness even when faced with judgment or criticism? Alignment requires us to consistently check in with ourselves, ensuring that our behavior matches our beliefs. It's easy to get caught up in external pressures, but when we are in alignment with our values, we feel a sense of peace and purpose, knowing we are living authentically. However, the process of staying aligned isn't static, it requires ongoing reflection and self-awareness. Life can shift, and so can our values, but often we forget to reassess or course correct. It's important to regularly ask yourself if your current path is still in harmony with what you hold dear. If you find that your actions are drifting away from your core values, that's okay. It's an opportunity to realign. The key is to recognize when there's a gap between who you want to be and what you're actually doing, and to be willing to take the necessary steps to close that gap. This practice of self-reflection and realignment ensures that you don't just live on autopilot, but instead remain connected to the essence of what truly drives you. The stories we tell ourselves shape the way we see the world and influence the decisions we make. Each day, we write our own narrative, often unconsciously, through the thoughts and beliefs we carry. Maybe today's story is one of scarcity, where you feel like there's never enough time, energy, or resources to go around. Or perhaps it's a story of self-doubt, where you believe you're not capable of meeting the expectations placed on you. These stories can limit our potential, trapping us in cycles of fear and frustration. But when we pause to ask, what story am I telling myself today? We give ourselves the opportunity to rewrite that narrative, to challenge the assumptions that are driving our actions. Our stories are not always grounded in reality. Often they are based on past experiences, fears of the future, or societal expectations. By identifying the story we're telling ourselves, we create space to reflect on whether it's empowering or disempowering. Are we telling ourselves a story of growth and possibility, or one of limitation? Are we framing our struggles as opportunities for learning or as evidence of failure? The story we choose to tell is a reflection of how we want to engage with the world. And by shifting the narrative, we shift our perspective, creating a foundation for a more empowered and intentional way of living.